Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.
Attention, you're listening to the Todd Huff Radio Show, America's home for conservative, not bitter talk radio. Be advised that the content of this program has been documented to prevent and even cure liberalism, and listening may cause you to lean to the right. Here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, my friends, are you tired of winning yet? We're 50 days into Trump's second term here. 50 days as of, I guess, yesterday. Actually, maybe today. The Trump administration has released a press release, issued a press release that has 50 victories, I guess, in 50 days. I'm looking here at an article from Epic Times. Or no, this is PJ Media. My apologies. You can find this on our website. We always do this. We have a place where you can go called the Stack of Stuff, where you can find articles that we discuss. This will be there along with some other things that, time permitting, we will get to today, my friends. But we're going to go through these. We're going to talk about this. I mean, there's 50 things in this, so I'm not going to get through all of this. It's going to go into both hours. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. If you want to be part of the discussion, share your thoughts and opinions, I welcome you to do that. I welcome you, if you're watching on Rumble, to share your comments below, what you like about what is being done with President Trump's second administration, maybe what you don't like. Whatever you think, you can put those comments there. Wherever you're listening on social media, you can email me those as well. If you're listening on the radio or to the podcast, Todd at toddhuffshow.com, or you can text 317-210-2830 as we are ramping up here, my friends, to expand into some new markets. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for those who have joined the Inner Circle. Lifetime membership for $99. It's a great deal. We're going to do some great things there. toddhuffshow.com/join. If you want to learn more information, if you want to be a part of it, you want to give us a continued boost to continue to reach more people with the conservative, not bitter message, that's where you can go. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. My friends, we've got a lot to get to, as I shared here off the top. Before I get started, though, my friends, let me say to you this, that you care about this country. I know that. I know by listening to this program, you have an interest in the future of this country for yourself, for your children, for your grandchildren. I know that. But you cannot fight for America if you do not take care of yourself. That's why I'm telling you about Soul Tea. It's an all-natural, clinically proven, science has spoken here, my friends, clinically proven supplement that lowers cholesterol safely. No prescriptions, no doctor's visits is a great first step. Just 2 Soul Tea soft gels a day. It's not a drug, but it works. It's been proven to lower cholesterol for folks. It may help you as well. I take it, and let me tell you, I think it's something, if you have high cholesterol or you're concerned about your heart health, or just as you age, I think you should consider this. We need strong and healthy Americans, not just for your family and your faith, but for this great nation overall. So don't let high cholesterol slow you down. Go to Soltea.com, S-O-L-T-E-A, Soltea.com. Use promo code Todd. Save 50% on your first order. and get free shipping. That's soltea.com, SOLTEA.com, promo code Todd. Take care of your heart, my friends, because quite candidly, America and we here at the Todd Huff Show need you in this fight. And it is a fight. It is a fight, by the way, that we are going to have. I've said this on this program numerous times, that we are going to have for the rest of our lives. This is not going anywhere, this fight. This, again, not to rehash too much of what I've said in the past, but there are themes that develop when you talk about things that matter in this country, when you have a show like this. And one of those recurring themes is I often come back to the well of Reagan's comments, where he said, when he was president, freedom is always one generation away from extinction. We don't pass liberty and freedom on to the next generation via the bloodstream, through our DNA, through our DNA. If you were a parent who had a child that watched Zootopia, we don't pass this along genetically. This is something that must be explained and taught and articulated and candidly accepted by the next generation. And that's why we do this program. That's why we are trying to spread a message. That's why we're conservative, not bitter, because I'll tell you this, that if we only focus on getting inside of our echo chamber with people who currently agree with us, people who are currently identifying, to use the word of the day, as Republican or conservative, libertarian, people who want limited government, if we're only talking in those circles, my friends, the folks who love big government are out there. They're out there talking and spreading the message. They've been doing this silently, or while many Americans were asleep at the wheel for the past 40 or 50 years. They've been doing this in schools. I call it the 7 pillars of propaganda. These solid pillars of our society: media, entertainment, what's become woke business. They've been doing it systematically. Academia, they've been doing it in these places over time, using their propaganda, using these pillars to get inside the hearts and minds of people, confusing them. That was the point of today's Todd Talk. The left's radical worldview and ideology is predicated upon your being confused, my being confused. They need confusion. I talked about this yesterday. Light is what we're trying to shine here. I want people to be educated. I want people to understand. I want to pass that torch of liberty on to the next generation. I don't want people to be confused and hoodwinked into agreeing with me. I want them to see things for, well, as they are, as much as that is possible. I want them to come to the realization of the beauty of this country, the importance of the ideas upon which this nation was built, and I want them to openly and freely accept them, embrace them, love them, cherish them, hold on to them, and pass those along to the next generation. That's how we do it here on this program. And this is not something that the left does. They try to deceive. They try to gaslight. We went through this yesterday. And so now we've come to this point in time. Trump has been president now, his second term, for 50 days. 50 days. And headline here at PJ Media, Trump administration celebrates a whopping 50 wins in 50 days. And I want to go through this. I want to talk about as much of this as I can on this program. And we're going to go through this line by line. I mean, we might skip around a little bit, but line by line effectively, because I think we need to be reminded. Just as freedom has to be passed along to the next generation, just as we have to be careful to make sure that we're teaching the right lessons, that we're telling the right stories, that we are proclaiming truth. My friends, if we don't proclaim truth in this country of all types, for example, if you're a biological male, you are a male for life. That's not something that can change. That is something that's built into your DNA, and that is something that is true. The idea that we are a people who have our rights given to us not by our government, but by our Creator. That's an important truth. If we don't proclaim these truths, there's a vacuum that's created, a vacuum that the people who proclaim lies, who are lovers of big government, who are constantly seeking ways to attain more power, get more money, have more influence, have a cushier life inside the nation's capital, running the show, whether it's in politics in general or the media, or one of the folks running the 7 pillars of propaganda, they will quickly fill that void and, well, they'll fill it with lies. That's what happens. That's what we've seen happen. And so just as that's true, it's also true that so many things are happening in our culture, in our country today, it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget. You know, I've been going through this Bible study. It's called the Bible Recap with Tara Lee Cobble. I think it's a fantastic Bible study. It goes through the Bible chronologically in the order of the events within the Bible, or the order that the books, whatever's happening in the particular book of the Bible, they try to put it in the order it actually happened here on earth. So, for example, the oldest book they believe is the book of Job, but Genesis tells the story of creation. So the first few chapters of Genesis in the story happened before Job endured what Job endured. And so you'll read a few chapters, maybe 10, 15, I can't remember exactly, 13 chapters of Genesis. Then you'll read the book of Job. Then you'll go back to Genesis. And it's telling the story of God redeeming his people. And it's a beautiful thing. But one of the things you learn, and you know this if you're a Christian or you've paid attention to faith for much time in your life, you'll know that the Jewish people were instructed by God. They had observances, they had holy days, they had things that they were supposed to tell their children and their children's children. Whether it was the law, whether it was the stories of God's deliverance, whether it was the story of the Passover, where God delivered his people from slavery in Egypt and into the promised land. Whatever the story, they were instructed to pass this along, to share this with the next generation. They were also, in some instances, for example, when they crossed the Jordan River, when God parted the waters there, he didn't just part the Red Sea, by the way, he also parted the Jordan River when the Israelites crossed into the promised land. They basically made this monument of rocks, Ebenezer stones, and they were told, when you walk by and you have your children, your grandchildren, and you see that memorial, tell them the story. Imprint it upon their hearts and upon their minds what their God did for them. These are important things. Now, I'm not comparing the United States of America to the story of God, but I am saying the idea that we pass along these stories and we pass along, in this case, these victories is important to do because we are in a news cycle that never stops, right? We're constantly bombarded. We're constantly berated in the media if we're conservative, if we're a person who loves the Constitution, loves limited government, loves and reveres God versus the God created by the hands of the radical leftists, which is, of course, their government. They're basically what King Nebuchadnezzar did. They've built an altar to themselves at which they are running the show, and you bow and worship to the God of government. That's what leftists do. And so, anyway, these victories are important to share. It's important to remind ourselves of the ground that we've covered. It's important to refocus where we're trying to go, what's at stake. So that's why we're doing this today. All right, that being said, got through all of that. Let me tell you, my friends, before I get into this, let me tell you that there is little that's more important than your sleep. If you're tossing and turning at night, it's time to make a change. My Pillow may very well be your solution. Their patented pillows are a game changer, but they've also got luxurious towels. They've got cozy slippers, which Oz has hers on here today, as per usual. And they've got so much more. It's not just comfort, my friends. It's quality you can trust. And here's the best part. My Pillow products are made right here in the good old US of A. So when you buy from My Pillow, you're not just investing in a better night's sleep, you're supporting American jobs and American values. That's something that we can all get behind, regardless of which side of the political aisle we are on, my friends. At least I would hope to think so. So, go to mypillow.com, use promo code Todd for exclusive discounts on the products that you find there on the website. Don't wait. Your best sleep ever may just be a click away, my friends. mypillow.com, promo code Todd. Sleep like a patriot, my friends. All right, let's get into this. PJ Media going through this press release highlighting the 50 victories of President Trump in the first 50 days. It's been an epic 50 days. This is written, by the way, by Paula Bolliard, and it was posted yesterday. It's been an epic 50 days with President Trump and his administration notching win after win after win. And the president shows no sign of stopping. By the way, that's important. The president not showing any sign of stopping is absolutely an important thing that we've got to tend to or pay attention to because we have witnessed the movement, the energy of people who are placed into office to further the political will of the American people. They see oftentimes when opposition arises or when difficulty comes, or sometimes they just get there and they get, they just lose a little bit of their edge. And we've seen it happen time and time and time again. I don't think we're going to see it at all with President Trump in this second term. Going back to the article here and getting to the list of accomplishments, the White House sent out a press release on Monday celebrating the things Trump has accomplished for the American people, including securing the border, bringing back American hostages, reinstating with back pay soldiers who had been discharged for refusing COVID-19 vaccine, and making it the policy of the United States that there are only two genders. He's giving us our plastic straws back. He's even giving us our plastic straws back. By the way, if we get to that, so much to comb through here. So let's go through this. Here's the complete list. I'm looking at PJ Media's website. It's got these nicely, listed here. You can also go to the president's press release if you prefer. So, President Trump secured the border in unprecedented fashion. Number one. As I've said with this issue, as you know with this issue, this demonstrates, this proves that at any moment in his presidency, Joseph Robinette bribery could have done the very same thing. There was no legislation needed. You will remember from Trump's State of the Union, I know it wasn't technically a State of the Union, but it practically, for all intents and purposes, is the same exact stinking thing as a State of the Union address. President Trump said that the experts said we needed Congress to act, and it turns out we just needed a new president, to which I think it was probably the best single line of the night, in my opinion. Probably wasn't the moment that stole the show. I think that was DJ Daniel. But anyway, that's what Trump said, and it is remarkable. Folks, it is remarkable what has happened. I saw a headline the other day. I read a little bit of an article, and it's not in the stack of stuff today. But a journalist, someone who's at least pretending to be a journalist, I saw had said, I can't remember who this was, but it was someone from the mainstream news. They said that they had gone to the border in the past and they just got back from the border this time. And they said it was the first time they had been to the border where they literally saw no one trying to cross the border illegally. Now, I know that that's anecdotal, but it's also what you would expect when you realize some of these facts. Going back to the article here, Trump's press release, illegal border crossings have declined to the lowest level ever recorded. Ever recorded. They are down 94% from last February. It is, folks, there is no other explanation for this. Listen to me say this, because at some point in the future, you will be, I will be, they, the left, will try to attempt a gaslight on us about this. They will tell us that at the end of Biden's term, he took some action that made this process begin to take shape. They will tell us that Democrats were supportive of what President Trump was doing or whatever. This is what they'll claim that either it didn't happen exactly as it did, giving their side some political credit as well, or they will simply try to rewrite history altogether. But the bottom line is down 94% from last February and down 96% from the all-time high of the Biden administration. In one sector, illegal border crossings are down 99% over 2023. This problem has been contained. This issue has been solved. We are now dealing with the issue of deporting criminal illegal aliens, deportations of those who have already taken advantage of what happened under the last 4 years in this country, and candidly, what had happened over most of the past 40 years in this great nation. These folks are now facing the consequence. That is a different process. In fact, if you remember, when I talked about this, when Biden was president, there's two parts of this issue. Number one, there is the illegal crossings. That has to be stopped. That was metaphorically as though you're out in the middle of the ocean and your boat begins to take on water. There's a leak. You see water coming into your boat. The first order of business is to stop the water from coming onto your boat. That's the first order of business. The first order of business isn't to convene. Maybe your boat has multiple owners. Maybe you own a share of a boat. Maybe there's 5 people. You each own 20%. You don't get on the phone and you say, hey, I got a leak on the boat, but the first thing I want to do is talk with the other 4 of you to figure out what boat we want to buy next because we should probably upgrade. All the while, the water is continuing to come onto your boat. You don't do that. You don't go out shopping. You don't go out looking for the best deal. You don't go out there and see what's in the budget. The first order of business is to stop the leak. This should go. The fact that I have to say this is maddening to me because everybody knows this. Everybody knows this except for the people who have been misled by the talking points and the rhetoric of the left, of the media, of the 7 pillars of propaganda that are steering this country to the left. And so you look at this and you think the first step is obviously to stop people from coming across the border. Whoever is here, that could be akin to or metaphorically like the water that was already in the boat. The water that you had taken on in the analogy, in the metaphor. The water in the boat is in the boat. I want to make sure there's not any more in the boat first because there is some point at which the boat will sink. There's some point, some amount of water will make it impossible for the boat to overcome what it's taken on. And so the first order of business is to stop it, is to knock it off, is to make it end immediately. That's what has to happen. That did not happen under the Biden administration. And so they pretended to make the argument that they couldn't stop the leak in the boat until they got a perfectly new boat lined up for when they needed to buy a replacement boat. That's simply not the case. Again, if your house is on fire, you don't tell the fire department to knock it off until you find plans for a new house. That's not how this works. The first thing is to stop the disaster that's happening right before your eyes. That was not done under the previous administration. I'm out of time this segment. Quick timeout, my friends, going through the 50 wins, and we're not going to get through all 50. We got through 1 right now. I'm just going through these because I think it's important to highlight these. We'll continue this talk in the next segment, my friends. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff, back here in just a minute.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.
This holiday season, give the gift of flavor with Wild Oasis Bison. Treat your loved ones to the finest grass-fed, grass-finished bison cuts, showcasing the purity of the wild. Our ethical practices mean no hormones, antibiotics, or steroids, just good, clean meat. Visit wildoasisbison.com and use code TODD for an exclusive 15% off your first order. Our bison jerky is a perfect stocking stuffer for Christmas. Wild Oasis Bison, because exceptional meals start with exceptional meat.
Welcome back, my friends. Just going through the 50 victories, the 50 wins that President Trump and his team are celebrating here as we're 50 days in to Trump's second term. Victory after victory after victory, my friends. Are you tired of winning yet, as Trump would ask? I'm certainly not. I doubt you are as well. Before we get back into this, let me tell you, do you ask you, do you believe in the mission of this program to help others hear and receive truth? We share faith, we share freedom, we share common sense. I think we did all those things in the last segment. And we're taking these things by the grace of God to the next level, my friends. I'm pleased to report that our show is expanding into new radio markets like Portland and Las Vegas, and potentially, I've mentioned it already, I'll mention it as well, potentially Atlanta. Not guaranteed on that one just yet, but as those, at least one of those stations, I should say, there may be more, are putting us on in a time slot vacated by Dan Bongino. He's become Trump's deputy director of the FBI. And to make this happen, we've got to make some operational upgrades that allow us to put our show on the bird, on the satellite, for satellite distribution. This is the way that most stations receive shows like this that they put on their airwaves. And so as I thought about what steps to take, as I thought about sharing this with you, I decided we should give you the opportunity to help us do this by inviting you to become a founding member of the Inner Circle. And for just $99, it's a one-time investment of $99, you'll get a lifetime membership, my friends, to the Inner Circle as a founding member. I've planned to launch this for some time, and I don't think the timing has ever been better. It's a little bit down the road. It will launch a little bit later this spring. It's a limited time offer that we're doing this for founding members only, and the program officially will launch this spring. As a founding member, you'll get exclusive content, behind-the-scenes updates, live video chats with me, and even a personal welcome call from me if you decide to select the one-time investment option. We're looking for just 30 members here as we get rocking and rolling with this program. I want to thank those of you who have done this already. I'm looking to build a core group of people that want to help build this program. So here's what you can do. You can text the word JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 317-210-2830. Or if you prefer, you can go to toddhuffshow.com/join. Again, that's toddhuffshow.com/join to secure your spot today. Let's grow this thing together, my friends. Again, text the word JOIN to 317-210-2830 or visit toddhuffshow.com/join. All right, let's get back to this list. Talked about illegal immigration, talked about how it's down 94% from last February, how it's down 96% illegal border crossings from the all-time high in the Biden administration, and how it's down 99% in one of the sectors. It's almost non-existent. You cannot argue that Trump's policies did not cause this. Remember that, because I'm telling you, at some point, they're going to try to convince you that it was anything but Trump. Fox News correspondent Bill, Milligan, said, quote, if Fox, that's Fox News, were to send me down there right now, I would have trouble finding a single migrant on camera. Here's the guy. I knew I had seen this. CBS immigration reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez said this. This is what I referenced earlier. Typically, when we go to the U.S.-Mexico border, we at least see one group of people who are trying to cross into the U.S. illegally. We did not see a single migrant. That actually matches perfectly with what we have seen with the data being given to us. So remember that when people are telling you that it's... Folks, I remember I had posted something, one of our clips of the show or something on TikTok or YouTube or something. And someone got on there and said, I don't read all the comments, but I read some. And it said, immigration is still a problem down here. What are you talking about, moron? Or, something like that. And the truth is the left wants you to believe that. The left wants you to believe, the media wants you to believe that Trump really wasn't serious, that it's all a game, that he's not done anything, it didn't make any difference. Everything, my friends, that we're seeing and hearing say exactly the opposite. This was a major win for you, the American taxpayer, the citizens, the taxpayer and citizens of this great nation. It's a great victory for you, my friends, for me, to see this happen. Number 2, President Trump signed the Laken-Riley Act into law. This law requires illegal immigrants arrested or charged with theft or violence to be detained, honoring the memory of Laken Riley, a Georgia college student brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant released into the country. This was the same Laken Riley whose mom and sister attended the State of the Union, the joint speech, joint address to Congress, the same Laken Riley who Democrats refused to stand and applaud her family, which is sickening to me. But they signed this into law to prevent these things from happening again. It's appropriate, too, the way that it was done. You honor the person that candidly, the family of the person that candidly our government let down. Our government caused this. Friends, if you pay attention to this program, I think you would agree that I try not to, especially over these incredibly sad stories, I try not to make it overly personal in that regard. I don't like when people are used for political purposes. But I also can't deny the fact that these things are connected. Something happened to Laken Riley that if the Biden administration enforced the law would not have happened. I don't see any way around that. And so you honor the loss of the family, you basically apologize, you pass a law that says we're going to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And that's what, Trump signed an executive order, so he's done what he can. That's what has been done. This is a victory, again, for you, for the American people. Number 3, President Trump is deporting illegal immigrant killers, rapists, and drug dealers en masse. The list of illegal immigrant criminals arrested and set for deportation include convicted killers, child molesters, child pornographers, gang members, terrorists, and drug traffickers. That's who's on this list. The media wants you to believe it's kids. The media wants you to believe it's some family who's lived peaceably in the United States for half a century. Now, if the efforts of ICE to go after the folks that are listed here, the violent criminals, the people who are involved in some really heinous things, if they encounter someone else along the process who is not here illegally, then they absolutely can be deported. But the focus, the effort is to go after these people. As I've said before, there is not a single fair-minded human being in the world that can be against this. Look, I understand maybe there can be people who are against those. I'm not arguing for it. Please do not misunderstand me. But maybe there are people who are saying, okay, if someone's been here a half a century or 20 years or whatever, they came as a kid, do they still get deported? I'm not arguing one way or the other right now. I'm simply saying that is different than examples of people who are here, who are violent, who are gang members, who are who have violently harmed another human being, who are engaged in child pornography, who are trafficking drugs. Friends, there is not a single person who can be against deporting those people with a sincere, straight face. Absolutely impossible, my friends. This is a victory for the American people. There are less of those people running the streets in America today than there were 50 days ago. This is a victory. By the way, side note, I think you'll find in yesterday's stack of stuff an article that basically says the pace that Trump is doing this and the targets and the goals that the administration has, we're not on pace yet to deport the number of people that the Trump administration is targeting to deport. And so there will be some need of additional resources, which is, as we look at passing this stopgap funding bill, which we've not talked about yet, but it's out there because if a bill isn't passed, there's going to be a potential, you know how this works, a potential shutdown and everything else. I think in the history of government shutdowns or threats of shutdowns, there's never been a time when the people could care less about that. This is, folks, we have a lot of momentum and a lot of good things happening. So anyway, but even though we're still not on the pace of where we need to be to hit the goals and objectives of the Trump administration as far as it comes to deporting criminal illegal aliens, we've absolutely made a dent into it, and it is a priority of this administration. It's the first 3 points. It's been in all the first 3 points of this press release, which, again, I'm referencing here at pjmedia.com, which you can find on our website under today's stack of stuff. Anyway, I'm looking at the clock. It's time to take a break, my friends. Sit tight. You're listening here to Conservative, Not Bitter Talk. It is great to have you here, my friends. Be back here in just a minute.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.
This holiday season, give the gift of flavor with Wild Oasis Bison. Treat your loved ones to the finest grass-fed, grass-finished bison cuts, showcasing the purity of the wild. Our ethical practices mean no hormones, antibiotics, or steroids, just good, clean meat. Visit wildoasisbison.com and use code TODD for an exclusive 15% off your first order. Our bison jerky is a perfect stocking stuffer for Christmas. Wild Oasis Bison, because exceptional meals start with exceptional meat.
Welcome back, my friends. Here we are, third and final segment of this, the first hour of the Todd Huff Show today. 2-hour program, by the way. Let me say this, too. If you're watching on Rumble, if you're watching on the website, the video, and you see that I got a watery eye, it's allergy season, my friends. I don't know what to say about that. It's just allergy season for me. From the time I was a little guy, I deal with allergies. They're usually, thankfully, not too extreme. When I was little, though, I remember, I'd forgotten this, but until I just started talking about it, I remember my eyes actually swelling shut when I was a little kid up at the baseball diamonds in the spring and summer. Whatever was it, I think it was honeysuckle, but I don't know that for a fact. It caused a lot of problems for me back in the day, but usually if I got out of got inside and out of the air, it would go away. I'd put a wet rag over my eye. Anyway, it's a little bit watery. I'm not crying here behind the scenes, but it is something that you might see, so I wanted to address that. All right, so let's get back to this list of 50 things that the Trump administration is celebrating as victories here in the first 50 days. Number 4, President Trump's tariffs are leveling the playing field for American workers. President Trump restored a 25% tariff on steel imports and elevated the tariff to 25% on aluminum, or if you're from across the pond, aluminium, which I'll never understand. Imports to protect these critical American industries from unfair foreign competition, a move praised by the Steel Manufacturers Association, the Aluminum Association, and businesses across the country. It also says here President Trump unveiled a plan for fair and reciprocal trade, making clear to the world that the United States will no longer tolerate being ripped off. Why is this a victory, my friends? Because what Trump is doing, now there are exceptions to this general rule, but in general, the rule is pretty solid. If you are putting tariffs on the United States, we will put tariffs on you. And so I love this strategy because it forces us to come to the realization that whoever's on this list, now the media will try to lie about this and gaslight us and all that, the Democrat Party as well. But you can look these things up. You can look at the countries that are going to have tariffs put on them starting April 2nd? Because Trump said April 1st, he didn't want to do that because people would think it was a joke for April Fool's Day. But he said, I'm going to do it April 2nd. We're going to put reciprocal tariffs. So if a country doesn't want to be on that list, then it can eliminate the tariff that is currently on there regarding the United States of America's products and services, products that are coming across their border, that are being imported. And so what does this do? It does level the playing field. See, this is something that's missed by people. And I know that there are different types of people, my friends. I know there's different types of people that listen to this program. There are people who have listened to this program who have followed politics for their entire lives or for a big chunk of their life. Maybe they started as an adult. Maybe you started as an adult and you're into your more seasoned years. You've got some experience. You've got some life that you've lived and you've followed it for 40, 50 years, whatever, maybe longer. And so your understanding of this is different than someone who's brand new. Some people have not paid attention to politics, whether it be because they're younger, whether it be because they had chosen to put their head in the sand or they didn't find it interesting or relevant or whatever, who just started paying attention because you may have noticed during this past election cycle, it was impossible to avoid politics. Actually, all the way back to when Trump ran for the 2016 election, you will have found that politics was something that became more and more a part of everyday life. It's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. You can't get away from it. And so it's harder and harder to hide from the reality of the impact politics has on our lives. And so we have people in between that as well, people that have followed it for 5 or 10 years or what have you. The point here is that not everyone in that group understands things equally. Some people are still trying to figure out that politicians lie to us incessantly. Some people are still trying to wrap their hands around the fact that some people who are elected in this country, some people who are lifetime bureaucrats in this country, hate this country as founded. That's not a blanket statement against everybody, but those people absolutely exist. I know how hard that was. I've said this on this program before. I know how hard it was as a young man hearing Rush Limbaugh say that to me as I was working on that horse farm 25 years ago. I remember resisting believing that people hated this country as founded. But I'm telling you, the more that I've listened to them, the more that I've studied this, the more that I see what's important to them, the more it's obvious to me that they do hate this great nation. And just like that, there's an evolution in the process that all of us go through as we get to the point where we realize the government doesn't know what it's doing. The government is way too big in my life. Those sorts of things. Just as we all come to that realization, I think, at least on this program, most of you do, we also realize that these tariffs, that they're not Trump's tariffs. These are tariffs, these reciprocal tariffs anyway, are tariffs that we are going to begin mirroring back to the people who are issuing the tariffs against us. That is good for the American people. That is good for not the tariff itself, but the result of causing countries to have to really take a look at this, because, friends, this could wreck their economy. So that's all I got time to get through in this hour. Join us in hour 2. Gotta go, SDG.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.